Hey everybody, Jason Leisure, Joe Schad here from the Palm Beach Post. We are at Hard Rock Stadium, where the Dolphins have just finished losing to the Patriots 35-14. Joe, we've seen them cruise along, winning 9 out of 10 prior to this. What happened today?
It was a strange locker room environment, especially in the defensive side of the ball. I haven't really seen Ndamukong Suh as melancholy and sullen as he was after this game. Kind of reminded me of a scene from Cameron Wake earlier in the year when the Dolphins were 1-4. So you know Ndamukong Suh cares, and I get the sense that Ndamukong Suh was frustrated at the challenge of trying to win ball games without a lot of players. And a big part of the reason the Dolphins were shredded by Tom Brady and Julian Edelman and LeGarrette Blount today is that they are missing 2 linebackers, 2 safeties, and a wide receiver. That is a lot of players to overcome. One good bit of news is that Tony Lippett and Jay Ajayi said after the game that they are okay despite apparent injuries. Jay Ajayi went to the X-ray room.
Right, we saw him.
He did not specify the injury. It didn't appear to be related to his shoulder, but he declined to get into specifics. And Tony Lippett looked to me like he might have almost gotten knocked out. But
that was a scary play. If you guys didn't see that, we have that on the Daily Dolphin blog right now. You can watch. He got blocked just in the open field by Michael Floyd of the Patriots. Just a devastating block.
Tony Lippett said he never saw it coming, which is not a surprise. But that he felt it. Said it was a good, clean play in his estimation.
Yes.
So I'm going to write about one of the things I'm going to write about for tomorrow is how in the world can the Dolphins expect to overcome these injuries on the defensive side of the football, and the fact that no defense in the history of the Miami Dolphins franchise has given up more yards than this team did this year. And that's hard to believe.
Staggering.
When you consider that this defense has Ndamukong Suh, Cameron Wake, and frankly, a lot of guys that are injured.
And Joe, sometimes your eyes lie to you. You look at the stats and you watch the film later and you see, okay, maybe it wasn't the way I thought it was, but this doesn't seem like a worse than franchise history defense to me. It doesn't seem like they've played that badly.
Yeah, well,
it's not great, but it's not worse than franchise history. It doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, they've come because the team is 10-6 and they're headed to the playoffs, which is just crazy. First, second time in 15 years.
Let me hit you with some of the numbers today. New England, 396 total yards of offense. Not egregious or anything like that, but a little high. Tom Brady, 25 of 33, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount was 3.6 yards per carry, nothing crazy
Look
there.
at the quarterback rating for Tom Brady.
130.4, and Julian Edelman had more than half of Brady's yardage. 8 catches for 151 yards, Joe, including a 77-yard touchdown.
I mean, Tom Brady had one of the great seasons of any quarterback in the history of football. What did he come in with? 25-2, and he leaves with 28-2?
Yeah, 2 interceptions, Joe, in I believe it's 432 attempts. That's amazing.
So Alexander jumps right to the punch. Can Tannehill be back next week?
Yeah, what do we know about that? We know Adam Gase talked about it afterwards.
Yeah, head coach Adam Gase said he's going to get with the doctors, get with the trainers on Monday. We don't know yet if the Dolphins' playoff game at Pittsburgh will be on Saturday or Sunday. But the Dolphins plan to maintain a regular schedule. Availability on Monday, no availability for the media on Tuesday. We'll, of course, still be writing about your Miami Dolphins on the Daily Dolphin blog. But he does not know yet. I saw Ryan Tannehill walking without crutches, without a full-legged cast, and without even a knee brace in the Dolphins locker room. And he had a slight limp. So, I mean, we're a lot better off after 4 weeks. Well, it's been 3.
This will basically be 4 weeks to the Pittsburgh game.
Right. So it's been 3. Next week's game will be 4. So I saw Ryan Tannehill I saw on Friday on the practice field taking dropbacks with trainers appeared to me to be a quarterback who has every intention to play.
That's not something you'd be bothering to do at this point, I don't think, unless you were serious about trying to come back.
I do have some concerns about an immobile Ryan Tannehill, because the mobile Ryan Tannehill is a heck of a lot better player. Do you think the Dolphins can beat the Steelers? Goodness, we have a whole week to talk about
Johnny
that.
Davis writes in with that question.
I mean, look, they've done it once, which gives them confidence.
Well, this is a little bit what I'm writing about today. You saw New England today. You saw a powerhouse. You saw one of the 2 best teams in the league. It's New England and Dallas. After that, you got a bunch of teams that are fine, in my opinion. They're not amazing. They're fine. The Dolphins are in that group. Fortunately for them, Pittsburgh's also in that group. Pittsburgh, I believe, beat the Browns in overtime today, so they finish 11-5. One game better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins beat them decisively down here.
It's interesting. I didn't know that the Browns took them to overtime.
Yeah, but I don't think
either
team.
Guys.
I'm not sure what was going on roster-wise with those teams.
Guys.
The point being, Pittsburgh is not. I don't think that people expect Pittsburgh to make a big run. I don't think Pittsburgh's going in and beating New England at any point either.
Here's the problem. They do have Le'Veon Bell, and the Dolphins have a hard time with running backs like Le'Veon Bell.
And Pittsburgh looks significantly better.
And they have Antonio. They have Antonio Brown.
We should hit on that because some of these people may not know that everything's settled now as far as the Dolphins' path. They are the 6th seed. There's no more waiting around for this Chiefs-Chargers game. They are going to Pittsburgh Saturday or Sunday. We don't know. We will get that to you as soon as we have it. We expect that possibly around 11 or 12 tonight.
That also means that if the Dolphins were to upset the Steelers, that we would be making a trip to Boston.
To face New England, which
for the divisional round.
In my opinion, you may feel differently about this. In my opinion, you've seen 2 games worth of proof that the Dolphins aren't even close to playing with this team. I count that first game when New England was up 31-3 late in the 3rd quarter, and the Dolphins rallied against their 3rd-string quarterback.
All right, before we get into the big picture about what 10-6 means to Adam Gase and to the Miami Dolphins, and while we talk about a few game specifics, guys, give me your thoughts in 5 words or less. How would you describe this Miami Dolphins regular season? So 10-6, you make the playoffs. How would you describe? And we'll read some of those comments off after we address some of the
specifics. Can we answer that too, or no?
Yeah, let's do it in a few minutes.
Okay, all right.
Let's first address some game specifics. So Jarvis Landry has an 8-yard pass from Matt Moore in the 2nd quarter that puts the Dolphins on the scoreboard and brings it to 20-7. Mm-hmm. Landry breaks a tackle. He throws his helmet down to the turf. You actually asked about why this was a penalty.
Mike Pereira, the officiating expert at Fox, I sent him a tweet with the video to try to get some clarification because, like you, I thought that's not a penalty if he's not on the field. The rule is actually that he cannot take his helmet off until he's back in the team area, which I don't know if you guys, I think you guys can see it right here. The team area would be that area where the dotted lines, where the dashed lines stop. So you cannot take your helmet off down here in this corner where Landry did. And then also, according to Mike Pereira, you can't slam your helmet down. Although I'm guessing if you did that, behind the bench, nobody would even know it.
In the bench. So
Jarvis Landry was that was the play where he got hit. He got hit at like the 1.
Dante Hightower hit him. He
hit
broke
him hard
the tackle
too, and it was amazing that he stayed up for that.
All right, now Kenny Stills catches a 25-yard touchdown pass from Matt Moore to bring the Dolphins within 2014. I'm going to ask you guys, and I'm going to ask my partner Jason Leisure here, does Kenny Stills, a pending free agent, deserve to be paid among the best number 2 wide receivers in the game? In other words, if he's the 33rd to 40th highest paid receiver in the NFL, are you comfortable with that?
I don't know, man. It always depends who you can get. The only guy on this offense that I'm really comfortable paying is Jarvis Landry. Even Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's on the books for $20 million next year. I can't imagine they're going to actually bring him in at that number. That's MVP level money.
Ryan Tannehill's not renegotiating. We'll see.
That's
initial
a huge
thought.
Price. But Jarvis Landry, to me, Joe, is their best offensive player. He's their most valuable, best talented offensive player. He helps you in so many ways. He helps you as a blocker. He makes things easier for your quarterback. They cannot let him go. I wouldn't say that about Kenny Stills or really anybody else.
Now Landry has 1 year left on his deal, as does Schad Jones. So
1 year cheap.
Yeah, so the key here is, do the Dolphins take advantage this offseason of locking up their emotional leaders on offense and defense? And I think that they should.
Nando Peter writes in, yes, Stills needs to be resigned, especially with Laurent Carew falling off. The thing is, though, you're not necessarily working with these 53 guys when you're putting together the puzzle for a 2017 roster. There's guys you can draft. There are guys you can sign in free agency. You may find someone at a better price or maybe even at a higher price, but you like them better than Kenny Stills.
So the Dolphins, for example, already locked up backup tight end Marquise Gray to a 2-year deal at a number that both sides thought was fair. The Dolphins might be waiting on starting tight end Deion Sims because they might have interest in someone in free agency such as Martellus Bennett, who, by the way, bringing us back to this game, killed the Dolphins once again. He started off the game with a 2-yard touchdown pass from Tom Brady that put the Patriots up 7-0. We said before the game what Dolphin is capable of covering Martellus Bennett, and we found out the answer: basically none of them.
Right, just like last time. Joe, one of the ways the Dolphins, you mentioned the yardage total that they've given up for the season. One of the ways that they've covered that up is they've been the best third down team in the NFL. Today, New England converts 7 out of 12 third downs. That's atrocious. That's about twice what the Dolphins normally allow. The Dolphins also have been a very very hawkish turnover takeaway team defensively, which erases a lot of yardage. You could have an 80-yard drive down the field and then all that's wasted on a turnover. No takeaways on Tom Brady and the Patriots today.
All right, let's hit up some of these guys' comments and questions. Olivier says we got beat down today. I don't think that the Dolphins' confidence level is going to be damaged going into the playoffs by this loss. I mean, this is something you and Dave George might touch on in your column.
Yeah.
How do you feel about whether this will damage the Dolphins' confidence level?
I don't think it will, and it's interesting you mentioned the locker room. The locker room today cleared out very fast.
Yeah.
That's as quiet and quick of a clear out as I've seen.
Well,
from
they're
them.
used to winning. I forgot what a losing locker room is like. 9 out of 10 weeks, these guys have hung around for as long as you want.
A lot of the guys, though, I sensed either the guys that talked, I sensed either an eagerness to just forget about this and move on, or outright defiance. That go ahead and try to make our season be about this game. That's not what we are. Jarvis Landry, obviously a defiant personality in general, was asked. He was trying to be asked, "What do you think about the possibility of seeing New England again in a couple of weeks?" And before the question even got out, he said, "Can't wait," and moved on.
Wow.
I mean, he's not playing around. That's a very defiant attitude.
Now, I wasn't over there, but among the cats who didn't talk to the media is Damian Williams. Now, Jason Jones told me he wanted to talk, but that, you know what, Jason Jones didn't fumble. So, were you over there when Damian Williams said he couldn't talk?
No.
Okay, but he didn't talk, and because he fumbled, that ended the Dolphins' chances. So we like Damian Williams very much.
If people didn't see it, it happened down here on the left side of the field.
Yeah, basically
they were threatening to score touchdowns.
Yeah, basically the Dolphins at that point were trailing 27-14, so a touchdown could have brought the Dolphins within 27-21. I think it was early fourth quarter, and the ball gets punched out, and maybe Dante Hightower returns it the length of the field, and sets up I think a score.
It was a 1-yard run by LeGarrette Blount. This was like middle of the fourth quarter.
Middle of the fourth quarter. So but you know what? I mean, you got to face the music.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that.
It's a kind of an inside part of the job that I don't know, if you guys are that interested in it or not. But it's better for these guys when they have some epic screw up in a game like that to come out. The team prefers it.
Yeah,
if you talk to PR people who usually a lot of times their interests are contradictory to ours, they prefer that the guys come out and address it rather than appear to be running from it or hiding from it.
All right. Especially with Carew.
Let's run through some other numbers while you're doing that. Matt Moore today, again, good, not great, which I think is what you probably should expect from a backup quarterback. I still think, Joe, that he's been better than most teams would expect from their backup quarterback. Matt Moore today, 24 for 34, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 93.4 rating, which is in line with what he's been the last 3+ games replacing Ryan Tannehill. Matt Moore has been a totally capable backup quarterback. He's not Ryan Tannehill. He doesn't offer him that dynamic, but he's been very capable. Jarvis Landry, their most targeted and best receiver. He catches 9 out of the 12 balls thrown to him, 76 yards, the impressive touchdown we mentioned down here. Joe, nobody else out of the receivers cracked 50 yards. And Jay Ajayi, what's your evaluation before we get on? I'm sure you have something you want to take us through here, but let's just stick with him first. I want to hear your opinion on this. Jay Ajayi today finishes with the 3rd best single season rushing total in franchise history, 1,300 yards, something like that. Only Ricky Williams has been better. His 02 and 03 seasons were higher.
And I covered Ricky Williams.
So Jay Ajayi turns in the 3rd best single season rushing total in franchise history, but he had 3 200-yard games, and then I think 8 or 9 games where he didn't get 60 yards, including today. You believe in Jay Ajayi or not?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins can go into next season believing that they have a capable number 1 back.
No need to sign somebody.
No, especially if you sign Damian Williams as a restricted free agent and you have Kenyon Drake coming back. I'm pretty sure that Adam Gase and Clyde Christensen think that they can play. That's a good point for my column. They believe that they have, as presently constituted, the receivers and running backs, and probably even offensive line and quarterback, to win a championship. I don't mean a Super Bowl championship. I mean, to make it the AFC a championship. I think that Ryan Tannehill, Jay Ajayi, Damian Williams, Kenyon Drake, Kenny Stills, Jarvis Landry, Devontae Parker, that group of players is good enough to lead the Dolphins to the AFC Championship game even this year.
The offensive line is very good.
I think
as
it's
well.
just the defense that's
You know what's missing there when you list off all those skill players as a tight end, dynamic tight end.
Yeah, and I'm sure that a guy like Martellus Bennett would be right down Adam Gase's alley. And it wouldn't shock me if the Dolphins make a play at Martellus Bennett, because look at how much they were paying Jordan Cameron. And the truth of the matter is they have that amount of money available if they want to pay it. Right. I asked you guys to comment on the season. So here are some of the things you said. Good season, better start needed, totally unexpected.
Plagued with injuries, Derek McConnell. You're correct. They came in today without 9 of the 22 intended starters.
Heart, effort, dedication, chemistry, and injury. Well said, Mike Taylor. The guy staying within the rules. Very unexpected. I like that. Staying within the bounds. Impressive season all around. A great season, but we need to work on
Tim Schad. That is too long, buddy. And you made defense into 2 words. Really
comeback team,
hurt
but
your
no
words on that one,
linebackers.
Tim.
I think no linebackers is definitely.
You almost blocked Tim Schad.
I would never want to block Tim Schad. He's one of our loyal viewers.
Be okay with it, actually.
Too many injuries. Very successful, hopeful future. Attention, Miami Dolphins.
That's not an answer to your question.
It's not 5 answers. David Bonilla, any relation to Bobby? Sadly, I knew the Pats would win. Yeah, so did we. We thought. Oh, actually, Jason Leisure. Care to comment on your inaccurate prediction that the Dolphins
would win the game?
Jason Leisure predicted that the Dolphins would win. Jason, you just happened to be here. Your thoughts?
An inaccurate prediction.
Okay. Sorry about the bouncing around there. Still a great season, regardless.
Why don't you answer the question? How would you describe this season? Kind of a neutral observer. We don't pull for the Dolphins or against them, but we're watching it. We're very dialed into what's going on.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins exceeded expectations. The Dolphins exceeded expectations. That's within the rules. That's 4 words. The Dolphins exceeded expectations. What do you think?
Great television show.
Yeah.
This has not been enjoyable programming on Sundays for a long time. It's been very dull. They were 6-10 last year. They were somewhere between 7-9 and 8-8, 6-10. All 6 years prior to that. It's been very, very dull, very mediocre. Not only is this the best record they've had since 08, Joe, this is by far the most interesting and compelling television watch that they've provided to you.
Everybody wants to know about Ryan Tannehill. Let me ask it to you this way. If Ryan Tannehill is 70% healthy and the doctors say he can play without serious risk of increased injury, you start him?
No.
Really?
I'm only going to start him unless they say that it's like virtually no chance he can further damage it, which I suspect that's not going to be true. Here's my thinking on that. The Dolphins are having a nice season, and they may very well beat Pittsburgh with or without Tannehill. I don't think that this is outrageous to think they can beat Pittsburgh when a team they've already beaten, a team that's not that much better than they are. What I think, though, is that they're not in the mix for going to the Super Bowl this year, and I don't chance Ryan Tannehill's future unless I really think I've got a shot I'm a legitimate threat to get to the Super Bowl.
All right, now that the regular season is over, and I know we'll have time to do an official report card, but I want your gut reaction on some of these guys. Just the first thing that comes to your mind, all right? A grade for Adam Gase.
I'm going to be a harsh grader. I've got a strict criteria.
Right.
Okay. Adam Gase, absolutely. Adam Gase should be the coach of the year. This team, it doesn't even matter. It didn't matter what happened today. It doesn't matter what happens in the playoffs. He took this team that was 6-10 last year, that was not his roster. They're 1-4. He takes them to 10-5, then 10-6. They're in the playoffs. Adam Gase is the coach of the year.
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill, I'd give him a B. He got a little bit better. I'm certainly not holding it against him.
At the midpoint grade, I think I gave him a C-. He
got a little bit better.
I definitely move him from a C- to like a B-, B. B-.
Yeah.
B. I mean, if you think, C is average. If you're the 16th best quarterback in the NFL, you're basically a C.
Yeah.
So I think, C+.
He might be more in that 10th or 12th spot.
If he does some extra credit work, I think he's got a chance to improve his grade to a B in the playoffs.
There you go.
If he comes back from history,
there you go. If he
comes back from injury,
I didn't know where you were headed at first, and then you nailed the metaphor.
If he comes back from injury and plays well in the playoff game, I think his grade goes from a C+ to a B.
Okay.
Jay?
Gosh, Jay Ajayi, I'd say a C. I mean, it's just as much as impressive as that rushing total is. There's so many games, way more games where you just kind of forget he's even there than his outstanding games.
All right, 2 more.
You agree with that or no?
Yeah. Vance Joseph.
Vance Joseph, I give him at least a B+ because he did a
Really?
lot. He did a lot with
Dude,
a little.
they gave up the
They were
most
missing
yards
so
in the
much.
history of the Miami Dolphins. They came into this game 30th in the NFL in total defense.
Okay, but he's got.
Did you see?
He's
Wow.
got to hold back Cam Wake for
I
the
like
first 5
Vance
games.
Joseph.
He's got to play with a limited Cam Wake because of doctor's orders or a team decision or whatever you want to call it. He loses Rashad Jones early. He loses Cole Misi early. Jelani Jenkins has barely been here. He's in and out. Today they're missing Byron Maxwell. Early in the year they're missing Xavier Howard. They have not had stability on defense other than the defensive line.
I think he's a good coach, but you
Then
got.
I said B+, right?
Yeah,
What would you say?
I mean, C.
Okay.
And I like Vance Joseph, and I would like to keep him around, and I think he'll do well. But I knew it was some smoke and mirrors stuff that, you know, they did well, forcing turnovers, coming up with it. You know, like, here's the thing. Like, they got killed by running quarterbacks this year.
Yes.
And Vance Joseph, who I like very much, basically admitted we didn't come up with a solution. Like, the whole year went by, we didn't come up with a way to fix this. And they also got killed by running backs up the middle, and they also got killed by tight ends. So that's like 3 things that they got killed on.
You don't
that they
factor
couldn't
into
come up
it
with
at
a
all
solution.
that they're missing so much personnel?
No, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, personnel was a huge issue, and that's something I'm going to write about for tomorrow.
Ed Lazarus writes in that Vance Joseph gets a C- in his grade book. Joe Eddie Flores is a little bit puzzled that I gave Ajayi a C. He's saying B+.
Interesting.
Did you have another guy?
I probably wasn't.
Let me
paying
ask you
attention.
one. Mario Williams, $6.5 million free agent acquisition. Mario Williams. What are you? An L. The unprecedented L grade.
Mario Williams.
I don't know exactly what it means, but it's not good. Adam Gates was asked about that today, why Mario Williams was a healthy scratch, and said basically, you know, they like the way Terrence Fede is playing.
We got a D-. Someone said we get a D- for
We
our
do?
report. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to know why. Can we follow up?
I don't
The
care.
guy who gave us a D-. No, I'd like to hear more. Why do you think we deserve a D-? Because we really enjoy these Facebook Live sessions. We try really hard
Right.
to write well.
And we do a lot of other work. It's not just this. But that's all right. That's all right.
I feel bad. I disappointed this guy.
He might just be messing with you. I don't know.
It's possible.
You're very sensitive.
I am a sensitive guy. I'm the sensitive guy in this relationship. You know, one of us has to be emotional. One of us has to be
Yes.
stoic.
Right.
It's like me and my wife. I'm emotional. My wife is very calculating
Okay.
and strategic
Uh-huh.
and
Level-headed, I'm guessing, right?
stoic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remind you of your
Yeah,
wife.
you're like my wife. It's
I
like
think that's a compliment.
no, it's good. I married her. Believe me, and it's
There
worked
you
out
go.
well. All right, closing thoughts. We have another game, which is great.
Yeah.
You guys are great. Tim, thank you so much. I'm glad I didn't block you accidentally a few minutes ago.
All right, Tim, I take it back. Since you like us, we like you.
Closing thoughts. I have my ideas, like the whole grade thing. That was my idea.
Yes.
So, you know, do you have an idea? How do you
No,
want to wrap
I
this
didn't
up?
prepare for this at all. Look, right now on our website, we have the 5 takeaways from the game that Joe wrote. Interesting, but not, you know, hugely relevant right now. The Dolphins 2017 set of opponents has been determined.
Yeah.
It was pending the outcome of some other
We get
games.
to go to San Diego. We have to go to Kansas City. What else do we know? We go to
There'll
London.
be a Saints game in London. They will play Baltimore for the 5th year in a row.
Again.
They played the Chargers 5 years in a row. The interesting thing about that Saints game being in London, the Saints have not been here since 2009, and now they will not be here until 2025.
Wow.
So it'll be like 16. No, my math's bad.
Well, I don't think Mario
16.
Williams.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think Mario
It'll be 16
Williams
years
will be
between
here.
the Saints trips here. So sorry for all of you New Orleans transplants who live in South Florida. We've got that already up. We've got.
Blunt called Sue a dirty player. That sounds like
We'll
a
have
good-
to look into that. We hadn't heard
sounds
that.
like a
Thank you
good
for
call. Thanks for the
thanks
tip.
for letting us know that, Alexander Rene Diaz.
Appreciate that.
We will have plenty more. We've talked to a bunch of guys in the locker room. We got a lot of stuff to get up on our on the Daily Dolphin blog for you guys, and it'll all be right here on Facebook. So stay with us, and we will be back with you Wednesday afternoon to talk playoffs live from Dolphins camp.
And last thing, big news, developing news for the Palm Beach Post. We're going to have 4 people. That's not like
Love doing
an
this.
insider thing, is it? Is that all right? That the competition knows? that perhaps no other paper is going to have 4 people.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
There you go.
So you're going to get the most bang for your buck, the most Miami Dolphins playoff coverage from Joe Schad, Jason Leisure, Dave George, and Hal Habib. 4 individuals making the trip to Pittsburgh for you, even if, you know, one guy thinks we're a D-.
Not for him, for
it's
everybody
like one
else.
guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else likes
That
it.
one guy's going to stick with him,
It's
though.
one guy.
You got to live with that on
Keep
your
that on
conscience,
my
one
mind.
guy. That he's going to
Kind of like that guy that said something about Sue. He's going to be bothered about it all night.
We're going to have to find out about that.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you soon.